Welcome back to another video by Ghostly Gloom. Before we begin, I kindly request you to subscribe to Ghostly Gloom and hit the bell icon to receive more videos from us. After watching the video, please take a moment to like it and comment on how you felt while watching. Now, let's dive into the story. In the still of the midnight hour, a chilling horror story unfurled on a desolate stretch of highway. Amy and Jake, a young couple, were driving through the heart of a dense, moonless forest. The only source of light came from their flickering car headlights as they navigated the winding road. The eerie silence of the forest enveloped them, broken only by the sporadic hoots of owls and the rustling of unseen creatures in the underbrush. Amy's knuckles whitened as she gripped the steering wheel, anxiety gnawing at her. "I can't believe we're out here in the middle of nowhere," she said, her voice trembling. Jake tried to reassure her, but the unease in his eyes betrayed his bravado. "Don't worry, Amy. We'll reach the next town soon, and we can fill up the gas tank. Just keep driving straight." But as they continued, the forest seemed to grow denser, the road darker, and the looming trees closed in, casting eerie shadows over the car. The fuel gauge dropped perilously close to empty, and Jake's attempts to lighten the mood with jokes were met with nervous laughter. With each passing mile, their fears intensified, and a sense of impending doom hung heavy in the air. Their cell phones displayed no service, rendering them entirely isolated from the world. Suddenly, the car sputtered and shuddered. Amy's heart sank as the engine died, and the car coasted to a halt. They were stranded in the heart of the forest, the deafening silence closing in around them. The fuel gauge now read empty. Panic washed over them. Jake tried to start the car again, but the engine refused to turn over. Amy glanced at her phone, desperately hoping for a signal, but it remained frustratingly out of reach. They were alone, stranded, and shrouded in the unsettling darkness. "Jake, what are we going to do?" Amy whispered, her voice quivering. Jake's eyes darted around, looking for any signs of help. "We can't stay in the car all night. We need to find a way out of here. Maybe there's a gas station nearby." Reluctantly, they stepped out of the car into the chilling night. The forest seemed to close in on them, its twisted branches reaching out like gnarled fingers, ready to pull them into the abyss. They clung to each other and started walking along the road, the only source of light the feeble glow of their phone screens. As they walked deeper into the forest, the darkness intensified, and an unsettling feeling of being watched crept over them. Strange noises emanated from the shadows, as though unseen creatures were lurking, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The fear that something sinister inhabited these woods clawed at their minds. Hours passed, and their footsteps echoed through the silent woods. Amy and Jake's fear escalated with each step, their minds playing tricks on them. They began to hear whispers, disembodied voices that seemed to emanate from the trees themselves, calling their names. Their hearts pounded in their chests as they quickened their pace. "We need to find help, Jake, fast," Amy urged, her voice a tremor of desperation. But the forest seemed endless, its pathways shifting and changing, disorienting them at every turn. The moonless night provided no guidance, and they realized they were hopelessly lost. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, and soon, the couple began to see fleeting figures in the shadows, darting between the trees. Terror consumed them as they realized they were not alone. These figures were grotesque, their faces twisted and contorted, and they moved with unnatural swiftness. The whispers turned into menacing, guttural chants, and the figures advanced, closing in on Amy and Jake. They ran, their hearts pounding, their breaths ragged. But the forest seemed to conspire against them, the paths twisting and turning, leading them deeper into the nightmare. The eerie figures pursued them relentlessly, their presence an unshakable malevolence. In their frantic flight, Amy and Jake stumbled upon a small, decrepit cabin hidden deep within the woods. Desperation forced them to seek refuge within, the door creaking ominously as they pushed it open. The interior was as unsettling as the forest itself, filled with rotting furniture and decaying remnants of a forgotten life. As they huddled together, gasping for breath, they realized that the chanting and whispers had ceased. A sickening silence descended, the only sound the wind howling through the cracks in the cabin's walls. They were trapped in this forsaken place, surrounded by the unknown. Hours turned into days as they awaited their fate, their food and water supply dwindling. They could see the grotesque figures lingering outside, just beyond the cabin's windows, their eyes filled with malevolence. It became clear that there was no escape from this cursed forest, and the horrifying truth dawned upon them: they were now part of its dreadful tapestry, destined to haunt its dark depths for eternity. And so, their horrifying tale reached its gruesome conclusion. Two lost souls forever trapped in a sinister forest, where the whispers of the damned and the grotesque figures that dwelled within were the only company they would ever know. As the days turned into weeks, Amy and Jake's screams merged with the eerie voices that surrounded them, a chilling chorus of despair that echoed through the heart of the haunted woods, a gruesome testament to the night they ran out of gas in the midnight horror story that was their lives.